Okay.
Yeah, we're ready.
Hi there, I'm Graham Bonnet, and you're watching Southeast Rec Metal. So there.
Okay.
But now a song.
There go those helicopters. Hey. See ya!
Welcome to the show, Mr. Bonnet.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Well, you started this tour of 2019 yesterday from Finland, Tampere. How was the evening?
Well, it was great, actually. We had a really good crowd, and I saw a lot of my old friends that I know in Tampere. It was a good first night because we have a new guitar player now, Joe Stump, and we're playing a lot of our Alcatraz music as well as Rainbow, etc., Impellitteri, a bit of everything that I've done in the past and recently, and also our new stuff from our first album.
You released Meanwhile Back in the Garage album last July in 2018. Pretty strong album, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of it because it's not sort of your ordinary heavy rock album, I don't think. I think it has some interesting songs with interesting lyrics and interesting melodies and great playing from everyone, you know. And what I try to do when we are writing songs is not to follow a trend. You know, don't really listen to what other people are doing. Otherwise, you try to do that and you sometimes fail. So I don't listen to any of our style of music. I just take it whatever way I think will be good. So always to make the songs about a real event or a real person or something or other, instead of it being fantasy about dungeons, dragons, and men living on mountains, if you know what I mean. Like the old Rainbow stuff. Whoa, hello! And I'm just going to get in here.
Is it easy to find subjects to write about?
No, but that's what I'm doing right now. I think I've written, let's see, probably 4 songs for the new album already, and it's hard to find a new subject. So I've been thinking about stuff that's happened in the past, something that's happening now, something I've seen on TV or whatever. But it's always got to be a true story. The way I make up lyrics is usually almost like a country song. You know, it tells the story, and it won't make you cry necessarily, but it certainly make you rock and roll. So I wrote a tune on the Garage album. It's called Hotel, and if you read those words, if anybody's been in a band, they will absolutely connect with those words because it tells life on the road. I had a guy last night say to me, I love that track from Back in the Garage, Hotel. I said, why? He said, because I used to be in a band. He says, I recognize everything you're saying. And he said, it's so funny. I said, yeah, that's what I was going for.
Meanwhile, Back in the Garage seems to be also a band album because most of you been taking a part for the songwriting.
Yeah, it is a band album. It's all a band, cooperation. So, but most of the songs, well, the melodies and the lyrics are usually written by me, and the band contributes arrangements for songs. So I get a track of something with no vocals on, obviously, something that's played by everybody, and I say, well, maybe I can do something with that one, or maybe I can't. Let me hear some more. They feed me with the music tracks.
Do you think that it's the strength of your band that most of you can take apart for the songwriting and bring new ideas and melodies and stuff like that?
Yeah. And they also tell me of their experiences, and I say, oh, that'd be a great song. As I was saying, like the one about the hotel is, if anybody who's a musician will get it straight away because it's kind of funny, tongue-in-cheek, and whatever, And they help me a lot because our guitar player, our new guitar player, Joe, is amazing with arrangements, and he plays in so many different styles. He's one of those guys who's just kind of good at everything, guitar playing wise. He can play like anyone you like, because of all the songs I've done through the years, it's been with a different guitar player, a different band, whatever, and those styles that we have back then, he can reproduce on stage, and it's pretty incredible.
you have a very interesting cover version of Tina Turner's "We Don't Need Another Hero." So how did you end up doing that?
Well, it's a long time ago when I had my band together, Alcatraz, with Jimmy Waldo and Jan Uvina, Yngwie Malmsteen, and Gary Shea. We went out one night to see the movie that Tina Turner was in. You know, what was it called? Thunderdome. I can't think of the title for a minute. And after the movie was over, when the credits roll, that song came on, and I said, "Wow, that's great!" And we went into the parking garage to get the car, and I started singing it, and they went, "That's good. That'd be a great song to do." And I said, "Yeah, it would." But that was years ago. And then one day, my manager and I, probably just before we did the album, were sitting in an Italian restaurant in Sweden, I think it was. And he said to me, "Do you know that song, We Don't Need Another Hero?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Wouldn't that be good to cover?" I said, "Do you know?" I said, "Years and years ago when Alcatraz was together, we were going to do that. You know, but we thought, no, we better not. We better stick to what we do best, is make it our own song, I think, anyway." But I said, well, let's give it a shot. And that's why we did it. It was just one of those things. I like the song, and it doesn't make any much sense to anybody because it's taken from a movie. But I think other people have covered it too. I don't know. But I was like Tina Turner. I love that song.
For me, meanwhile, Back in the Garage presents, like, 70s and 80s hard rock with strong melodies. Was it something you really wanted to get out from it and put out?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think with Alcatraz we had a style, with harmony and whatever else and keyboard parts, etc., etc. I think we can't go too far away from being that animal, Otherwise people say, well, what the hell are they doing? No, that's not the guys I remember. So when the new Alcatraz album comes out, it will be in a similar style to Alcatraz, but it will be modern day. Always try, as I say, I like to write about things that are happening now or events that have happened now, so it won't be sort of dated sounding, I hope. But it's always hard to find a new sound. But I think with the vocal backing harmonies I do and things like that, it has a certain sound of its own, I think, and it's very recognizable, I hope. That's what I'm going for.
Well, it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm going for. I love harmony, I love Brian Wilson. I love the way he writes songs, I'm a total Beach Boys fan and Beatles, and nothing to do with what we do, because if I was listening to music, I wouldn't listen to the kind of music we do. I would listen to something completely the other, the Beatles, who I grew up with, obviously, in England. And Brian Wilson, I think he's genius. I really do. He's an incredible musician.
Do you have plans to wake up the old Alcatraz again?
Not the whole band, no, because the other guys are totally out of the business. Jan Uvina isn't playing anymore, and Gary Shea plays sometimes at home in, I think he lives in Boston, I think. But he's not really interested in actually going out there and doing what we did again.
But are you going to use the old name, Alcatraz?
Yeah, I'm going to use the name because I think people will recognize the name rather than recognize my name, because they say, "Oh, you're the guy that sings Since You've Been Gone." Yeah, but a lot of people don't know me. They don't know my name, but they know the band name. And I think it's probably a good idea for us to do that, because now we have a band that sounds pretty much like the first edition of Alcatraz, I think.
Do you have, studio booked and songs ready for the next Alcatraz album?
Yeah, I've got probably about, I think I just said about 3 or 4 that are sort of ready to go. We have different writers, different guitar players have sent us stuff. Steve Vai is one. Dario Mollo is another guitar player that sent us some stuff, which I've written already. So he sent us the demo of a song, basically, and then I wrote the song around what they sent me, Steve Vai, etc., And so then we are going to play them our way, not the way that Steve plays it or Dario. We're going to do it our way. But I think it's a good idea to probably have sort of guest guitar players. That's probably what will be happening. But Joe will be playing all the main parts, Joe Stump.
recorded the album Schenker and you had 4 singers. What kind of process it was to do an album with 4 singers and tour with it?
Oh, that's okay because I know them anyway. I've known those guys for quite a few years, and so we're all friends. And it's a bit weird. It's almost like being on American Idol. And here's the next singer. You know, it's a bit like that sometimes. It's a very long show. It's like 2.5 hours, and it's quite fatiguing, even though you're not on stage all the time. You're waiting to go back on, and we do backing harmonies for each other, each singer, you know, for their solo, solo song. We do harmony, and it's been good, yeah.
The response for the fans and the reviews of the Schenker album and tour have been great. So can you see it from the stage that the audience is really into it?
You know, I don't know. It's a weird one. Playing here is very strange for any band that plays this sort of 1980s-ish music. You know, it's not a big deal right now. As we know, it's not fashionable. It's out of date. Sometimes people think, once they hear that old white guy's music, you know. But it's coming back in a way because we get a younger audience now. I found especially in England, when we play England, there are younger women and guys there, you know, like 18, 19 years old. And in fact, last night when we played in Tampere, there were some young people there too. So they are sort of catching on to what I call real rock and roll as opposed to, you know what I mean, the other stuff.
Like you said, the Schenker shows are long. So how do you keep your voice in good shape and fit?
I try to rest as much as I can, which I haven't done last night. I told you I didn't sleep at all last night. And so it's difficult when you're tired. But somehow the adrenaline kicks in and you manage to get through it. And people say, God, you know, you sang all right tonight. Oh, I did? Oh, good. You know, no cracks, no, you're in tune. Yeah, oh, good. But it is sometimes very hard to do, and we, of course, all singers get tired throats. Not necessarily a sore throat, but just tired. If you don't sleep properly, you know, you won't sing properly, and if you're unhappy, you won't sing properly either. So you got to be happy inside, and then it brings out whatever it is we have, the air from our lungs and everything, the feeling of living. Because these songs aren't easy. Everything is like balls to the wall. It's all very out there, big, vocally. Always drink plenty of water. As I always do, always drink about 2,000 gallons of this stuff. And it's just keep well lubricated, rest properly if you can. I never warm up, so when I go on stage, it's like, am I going to be good tonight or not? I don't like to ruin it. It's a waste of notes if I warm up, do all that stuff that a lot of singers do, which apparently it works, but for me it doesn't. Vocal exercise before you sing. I've never done it. And Ronnie Dio said that. He said it'd be a waste of notes if I warmed up now. I save them for when I get out there, which is that's what I do.
Who is your idol in a musical way?
Oh, I mean, it's always been, I was talking to you before we did the camera thing here about Brian Wilson. He's one of my heroes because he's one of those guys that is so inventive. I'm not talking about the Surf City, here we come. I'm talking about the latest stuff they did, Pet Sounds, Smile, etc., etc. I mean, he's just such a great mind, very imaginative, and I've seen his show twice, the Smile show, they did. And when the people come on stage in that show using carrots as a percussion instrument, he does that song called Vegetables. I don't know if you know this, but he has a song called Vegetables. And he says, I'm going to dig round my vegetables, I'm going to eat round my vegetables, I love you most of all, my favorite vegetable, carrots. It was funny, but just clever, just different, and I've seen that show twice, and I come away with goosebumps because he's just so imaginative. I love all the stuff he did in later years, when he got away from the Surf City stuff, but also, of course, I love Paul McCartney and the Beatles, my band. Forever.
One question popped up into my mind. Is there a chance for you and Paul McCartney to do something together?
I wish, but I don't think he would be interested these days. But when my cousin and I put our first record out in 1968, it was a song called Only One Woman, which Barry Gibb wrote. We did Top of the Pops in England, and Paul called up the studio after we'd done our performance. And a guy called Ray, who was our kind of personal manager-ish, came running. He says, I've just had Paul McCartney on the fucking phone. And he's a Liverpool guy. And he said, right, well, so is Paul McCartney, I know. And he says, he wants to know who's managing you. And I told him, he said, it's Robert Stigwood. And Paul said, another one for Uncle Robert. Because, you know, he had the Bee Gees, Cream, etc., etc. And we were lucky enough that my cousin, Trevor Gordon, was actually in the Bee Gees, you know, when he was a kid, when he was 13. So it was Trevor Gordon and the Bee Gees, and then the Bee Gees would play on Trevor's solo records, and he would play on theirs. You know, then they came to England, and that's how we got to meet. You know, so I was very lucky to meet the Gibb brothers in 1968, and the career started there.
Thank you for this interview, and have a nice show later tonight in Helsinki. And we'll keep on watching the space for the new Alcatraz album and more music.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fine. It'll be good. It'll be very good with Joe playing guitar. I know.
Moi, Hitakulo! Kiitos. Okay, I don't really speak Finnish. I'm sorry, I was faking it. So anyway, last but not least, the man that makes it all happen, the myth, the myth, the legend, Mr. Graham Bonnet!
I'm talking to him. What are you doing out here? Okay, well now I'm going to ruin everything by singing again.